Our cities and localities are facing a myriad of challenges, from federal threats to local programs to high inflation and cost of living. Please welcome the leaders on the front lines to the Global Black Economic Forum stage. Reporter, author, White House correspondent for Contrarian News, and host of The Tea with April Ryan, April Ryan. The Mayor of the City of Baltimore, Maryland, Brandon M. Scott. United States Representative for Louisiana's 2nd Congressional District, Congressman Troy Carter. And from the Louisiana State Senate President Pro Tem Regina Barrow.
All right, everyone. This is the last day of Essence. This room should be packed. This room should be packed because what we're going to talk about is something that you need. And first of all, hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time to be here. Beyond the music and the great concerts, Cardi B, Patty, and all that stuff, Babyface, and tonight, George Clinton and the mothership. Say so, come on. It's not just knee deep. We're in crisis, Black America. We are in crisis. And if you don't believe we're in crisis, just look at this weekend, Mr. Mayor, Madam Senator, Congressman, Sir Congressman. Just this weekend in Washington, D.C., white nationalists in 100-degree heat, 100-degree heat, wore their ski masks to intimidate and to let you know who's in charge. And then, which makes it so much worse, what happened in the rain? We just had rain here. We're sheltering here. But guess where they sheltered in the rain? In the National Museum of African American History and Culture. To add insult to injury, to add salt into the already oozing infected wound. Mr. Mayor, you've had to deal with this kind of issue with Donald Trump personally. Tell me about the crisis as you see it against Black America running what you call Wakanda, the city that I was born in and grew up in. I love Wakanda.
No, thank you, April. First, I would say that I disagree a little bit. I think it's ironic and really symbolic that they had to shelter in the African American History Museum, because it shows again that whenever anybody in this country is down and out, or whenever it's a question about what needs to be done or where you need to go, they got to come to Black people. You always got to come back home. But when you think about this crisis right now, April, and I'll say it this way, I said this to the Congressman yesterday, to make it very plain and simple. My grandfather was born on Christmas Eve, 1920. His great-grandson, my son Charm, who you know, was born 103 years and 2 days later. My grandfather died with more rights than Charm has today, right? When you think about that, when you think about the attacks for us in Maryland and Baltimore specifically, when you think about the attack on federal employees, essentially that was an attack on Black women and Black wealth in the state of Maryland. We can see that. When you think about what they say about, how we have to send the National Guard into all these places, how we have to get all these people off of Medicaid and Medicare, all of these things that they are trying to attack. How, as the Congressman eloquently put it yesterday, if your vote did not matter, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to try to take it away from you, right? And we have to understand that this is a crisis at every level, at the political level, at the economic level, at the social level, and we have to fight in every single avenue to push back against these people, because they want to take us to a post-Reconstruction time yet again, and we're not having it.
I'm gonna say, you say post-Reconstruction, I'm gonna say they're taking us back to roots, to slavery. And this is, when we talk about roots and slavery, this is ground zero for that voting issue, right? You know, we heard in Alabama, they're talking about repealing certain amendments. And then they're saying this in the midst of the fact that we have been winning so much that they wanted to change the narrative. And we can't look at ourselves as losers. They're changing the game. You know how you go and play a spades game or bid whist, and somebody who's trying to win, they changed the rules of the game. So, Madam Senator, tell me about on the ground here in Louisiana, as we love this ground, to come every year or several times a year for partying, but you guys are in trouble. They're trying to take your representation away. You had 2 black districts, and they're taking it down to 1. Do you not hear me? They had 2 black districts, and this was decided in the U.S. Supreme Court. It's called Louisiana versus Calais. The Supreme Court made this ruling. Tell me about the crisis here.
So thank you so much for the question. And let me just say, our vote matters, and elections has consequences. And the one thing that has been so imminent to witness really down at the state capitol, because I typically do not serve on the governmental committee, but as the pro tem, I get the opportunity to serve on every committee.
Come on, pro tem.
Just because my colleague got sick suddenly, I had to serve in his spot. And so what I witnessed was really a great travesty. I witnessed how at the last minute it was declared that we had a state of emergency in the state of Louisiana, which no one has yet to disclose what the state of the emergency was. That we had to go in and redraw the maps. We went in and redrew the maps at the last 9th hour, with very little notice for public testimony, especially on the Senate side. We had all of our 4 congressional members, black congressional members, who have ever served in the Congressional House of Representatives to show up.
Wait a minute, you said 4 black congressional members.
4.
4.
To show up, all within our lifetime, that have ever served. They all showed up to testify about the importance of representation. But let me tell you what was so amazing, how the people showed up and stayed at the state capitol till 4:30 a.m. in the morning. So that showed me that the people are recognizing the importance of their vote, but they also recognize the importance of our vote and how they are trying to dilute our representation. The census came back and said that 1/3 of our electorate is African American. And when you look at the math and the number of people that we have in this state, it says that we have to have or should have 2 congressional black members. But they came and redrew that. And because we don't have the numbers, we couldn't fight it. We gave our testimony, though. We gave it the best fight we can give. But at the end of the day, numbers matters. Making sure that we have the right people elected matters.
Congressman, in the midst of all of this turmoil, immediately following the Louisiana Calais versus Calais decision, everyone here in the state and at the Congressional Black Caucus were rallying around you and another congressional leader. Can you tell us everything that happened in that moment? Because I don't think you guys really understand how crucial this is in this moment, because everyone talks about diluting the vote. Basically, they're trying to take away your representation. When you have a problem, you go to someone from another party, and it was like, well, we can't help you. Versus the people who look like you, they're like, okay, let me see what I can do. It's just that granular, and that how it is. Congressman, tell me about it.
So first of all, thank you, April. Always great to be with you, my esteemed mayor and my sister in the struggle, the President Pro Tem of the Louisiana State Senate. It's real. While Louisiana v. Calais is the scene of the crime reverberates throughout the entire country. It's not just about Congress, and this is what we have to understand. It's about school board races.
Yes.
It's about city council races. It's about state legislative seats. It's a power grab of epic proportion, because what it attempts to do is to dilute our voting strength, to take our voices out of the equation, because we're winning too much, because we're gaining too much. And they're deathly afraid, MAGA, are deathly afraid of losing a status of superiority. So what you do is everything in your power to try to weigh us down further, as if slavery, as if discrimination in the workplace, as if taking away our rights were not enough. We continue to rise.
That's right.
So when we talk about it, my dear sister just said the 4 African American members who served in the United States Congress since Louisiana joined the Union. 4 in the history. But there was a 5th who was actually the first. John Willard Menard. John Willis Menard was the first African American elected United States Congress from anywhere in the world. Louisiana was first. John Willis Menard was elected overwhelmingly by the people of New Orleans, the seat that I currently sit in. He was elected to 150 years ago. John Willis Menard made his way to Washington, got to the House floor with anticipation of being sworn in. Gentleman took the floor and said, "Mr. Speaker, I request to be recognized." He's recognized and he says, and I quote, "America is not ready for a Negro to serve in Congress." And summarily, John Willis Menard was never sworn in. 5 members, 4 that have served, and now you want to take that away. It's 2026. We've watched this demolition of our rights. We've watched the United States Supreme Court be complicit. I watched the other day, April, and many of you may have seen this, but if you don't, it's worth me going off script for just a second. Andy Young, a native son of New Orleans, a mayor of the great city of Atlanta, a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, said, "This year, 2026, is worse than anything I've ever seen." Andy Young is 95 years old. Andy Young was on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel when Dr. King was shot. Andy Young was on the Edmund Pettus Bridge when people were being beaten and dogs were being sacked on them. Andy Young knows firsthand the atrocities of our freedom fighters, forefathers, marchers, and people who've died, sacrificed, strategized. Yet he says, April, this is the worst time. But listen, have no fear, because when we vote, we win. When we vote, we win, but we got to vote. We got to get out. We got to organize. We got to galvanize. We got to stop talking about each other and start talking more to each other. Listen, don't let anybody divide us. We see the attempt that trying to suggest that this Democrat or that Democrat, listen, you can be as democratic as you want. You can be progressive. You can be socialist. You can be whatever you want. We cannot let them divide us along those lines, because when they divide us, we lose. Our numbers are strong. We got to stay together. It doesn't mean that you have to be lockstep with everything that we do. We're not a monolith. We have different ideas. We have different philosophies, different approaches. But guess what we're always fighting for? The poor, the downtrodden, economic parity, opportunities for women, equal pay for women, not just minimum wage, but a living wage, environmental justice, criminal justice reform, making sure that we have an economy that works for the people and that we're not sending our children off to wars that are not necessary. These are all things we believe in, and that's why we as a people have to be vigilant. We have to dismiss this notion that being awake is a bad thing, because the opposite of being awake is to be asleep. And when you're asleep, you aren't conscious. And when you're unconscious, people can do anything they want to you.
Well, guess what? Yes. Guess what? I woke up this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
I woke up this morning. And you know, all the things that I've been posting, I put hashtag woke with it. Because, you know, they don't want you in this room. They don't want this Essence Festival to go off, because collectively they think we're conspiring, to be honest with you. All right? And that goes right to my point. That's right. Come on, preach your word on a Sunday. But here's what I want to say. For the average American, Mr. Mayor, He's my mayor, guys. I was born in Baltimore City. I'm proud of this man. Yeah, be more careful. Baltimore is in the house, yes, and so is Nola. But let me say this.
And we welcome you.
We absolutely do.
Yeah, there's a special kind of flavor up here.
We cousins, because a lot of seafood on the stage. A lot
Let
of
me
seafood.
tell
A
Yeah.
lot of seafood.
We steam our crabs, they boil theirs. So
We let our seasoning sink in, y'all sprinkle it on top.
all right, anyway.
It's all good, though. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
But that's the truth. That's the truth.
Mr. Congressman, okay.
Congressman, I'm going to remember that the second week of the football season. Just remember that.
So
Wait a minute.
But I
and
did
you
say
know
it's
what?
all
You
good.
got, it's good to have laughter because you got to laugh to keep from crying in this hurtful moment. But there are a lot of people, Mr. Mayor and Madam Pro Tem and Sir Congressman, that are saying that the Dems are not fighting back enough and harsh enough. And I want you to respond to this because right now we're watching this midterm election season. There's an expectation of this blue coming up, and in November we'll see if it works. But not only are people upset saying that Democrats may not be fighting enough, the system is broken, but we're not necessarily in the middle anymore. New York, we saw the elections there. We're going socialist, we're going further left. And in Colorado, we're going further left. What do you all say, starting with you, about this effort to fight and people looking for something new in this moment?
Well, what I say to people very simply, April, is if you want to look for folks that are fighting and have been fighting and always be fighting and leading in the fight, look to the local level. When you look as the president of the African American Mayors Association, I can tell you that my brother and sister mayors across the country are doing all the things that people say that we should be doing, and they're doing it in the most trying time for local government, when there is no federal help, when they're trying to cut all your programming, when they're telling you no, when they're saying if you want to help black people, if you want to help women, if you want to do these kind of things with your grant, we're going to take it for you. Yeah. People are doing great work. My good brother, Mayor Justin Baird from Cleveland, just announced the largest redevelopment project in the history of the city of Cleveland. Over 2,500 jobs. When you look at what we're doing in Baltimore City, nationally, homicides have fell by 41% over the last 5 years. In Baltimore, they fell by 60% in the last 5 years, right? When you look
and they still beating them up, though.
And when you look at what my good brother Andre Dickens is doing in Atlanta, folks are talking about city-owned grocery stores. He been did that. And the local folks are fighting, but we're also fighting the administration. I can't tell you, April, you know this, how many times the city of Baltimore has sued this federal administration, because the fight is going to be in different ways, in different lanes, in different places, each and every day. We can't just say that our folks in Democrat side and Congress aren't fighting to do enough, because they can't pass laws. They don't have the numbers. But they're fighting in different ways, and we're fighting on the front line to produce results for our residents at the local level, where the rubber meets the road, where people do not care who the president is if their water doesn't turn on, if their neighborhood isn't safe, if their school isn't opening, if they can't send their kid to quality after-school program. We have to do that every day, and we're doing it while we're fighting this administration at every turn.
And before we go to, before we go to Madam Pro Tem, this mayor, Donald Trump, when they were trying to bring ICE and everything into the city, and the governor and the mayor were fighting it. And I'll never forget, he got up and said, yeah, we DEI definitely earned it. I love that. I use that all the time, so I'm giving him his props. So, yeah, that's how he's fighting. Yeah, we definitely earned it, Donald Trump. Yes, Madam Pro Tem.
I just want to add to that I am a member of the local DPAC and the DSCC. And let me tell you, I embrace the differences. I embrace the changes. I embrace the young people who are coming in with a whole different philosophy, because we can all learn from each other. I think the Congressman said it best. We cannot fight against each other. We have to fight the good fight, knowing what the outcome is, what we are looking for, what we are looking to win. You know, I was married to my husband for over 34 years before I lost him to COVID. And I always say this, because he and I definitely did not agree. When I tell you it could be a house divided, and he told me one time, he said, Regina, you don't tell me how to vote. He said, I know who to vote for. He said, I vote who I believe is the best candidate. And I do my own homework and research. But at the end of the day, that's what it's going to take. We need the continuity. We need the energy. We need all of that fight, embrace in all of what we have to deal with, what we have to do, the fight that we have ahead of us, so that we can move forward. And I'm going to tell you, the young folks are coming with a lot of great ideas. Let me tell you, it's not what we've been accustomed to, Congressman, because, sometimes, we might play a little bit on the safe side. They do not. And guess what? I'm ready. Let's go.
She ready. She ready. Congressman.
Yeah, we look at this challenge, which is a real challenge. People are hurting. Yeah. People are frustrated. People see their rights being eroded right before their very eyes. And justifiably they say, well, what the hell are y'all doing for us? We've been voting for Democrats forever, and things are still bad. Yeah, and you're right. And trust me, no one feels that frustration more than us. The helplessness sometimes of being there and watching the fact that we've got antidotes to what ails us, but you can't bring it to the House floor because we don't have the votes. You can't bring it to the legislative floor in the states because they don't have the votes. You can't do all that you want to do in cities because they cripple you with federal grants and opportunities if they have anything that even looks like DEI. They went as far as to add words in the algorithms that if certain words popped up that sounded like DEI, that sounded like LGBTQ, that sounded like things that this presidency is against, they kick it out and disqualify it. But let me just tell you this, and this is not being defensive, this is being real. I've seen our brothers and sisters at the local level fight their tails off with limited resources, fighting every day to make it happen. I've watched the sisters and brothers in the state legislature in Louisiana and around the country show up every day, fighting, going to the floor, offering amendments, trying to slow down the process, albeit outvoted, but not outvoiced, not outsmarted. In the state, in the Congress, we have had more success under this crazy administration probably than they did. They can't even pass a rule, April. You know why we've been sent home early this week? Because they couldn't get the votes to do. Now they control the White House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. But they can't pass a damn bill because you can win, but doesn't mean you can lead. Woo! They can't get out of their own way. So when we get frustrated, and we will, and you have every right to be, give a little bit of grace that the devil will make you feel like you should quit the battle, but you never how close you are. That's right. Keep pushing, keep believing, keep fighting. As we always talk about the 3 C's. In Congress, we fight with every tool that we have, every technical tool, every procedural tool that we can, and every ability to pull other Republicans to our side to get things done. We've done it with Epstein files. We've done it with a number of measures where we did petitions where we're able to bring discharge petitions to bring them to the floor to force a vote. We continue to, when we can't do as much as we want with the first C, we go to the second, and that is we seek redress with the courts. We've been very successful there, but we've lost some too. But we continue. At one point, we had nearly 1,000 lawsuits filed, many of which we were successful with. Brother right here was very successful in fighting the federal courts. But then we turn to that third C, and that's the community. We need our fraternities, our sororities, our churches, our nonprofits, our families, our individuals, your cousin, your mama and them, as we say in Louisiana, your mama and them.
We say that in Baltimore, too.
We say that in Baltimore, so see, we really are more alike than we think. But we all have a role to play. This is not a single-player sport. Every one of you are deputized, regardless of your station in life, to be a part of this team. We all have a battle to play. We all have a role to play, and not one of you are ill-equipped to participate. So consider yourselves deputized. When we vote, we win. When we organize, we win. When we disallow the confusion that they will always attempt to make, and that is to divide and conquer. We're not a monolith. Black folk come from from the darkest dark to the lightest light, everything all in between, and it's all good. And if your vote wasn't important, they wouldn't be trying to silence you. If your voice wasn't making a difference, they wouldn't be trying to shut you up. And if you weren't so beautiful, they wouldn't be trying to look like you.
Let me tell you something. You were my sermon today. I needed that. I needed some fire. Woo! If I could stand up and jump over a pew, I would. But as our time is gone, but I'm going to ask a couple of more questions. I think we have the leeway to do this. You were right. There have been court wins. Just this week, the last 2 days of the Supreme Court, which this was the dumbest thing that goes to the court, but I'm glad we won. But when I say we, born in this country, birthright citizenship. That should never even been, that should have been 9-0. Right. It should never have been anything. Right. Lisa Cook can keep the black woman, the first Fed Reserve person can keep her job. What the hell? Just because the color of her skin and her gender, okay? Yes. And then we had the Mississippi mail-in ballots, another win. Guys, the mainstream media is not telling you about all the wins. That's right. There are more wins than they're telling you about. But also, in these last few minutes that I have, I want to ask each of you if you can give me a synopsis, go fast down the row. Is it November 3rd, Election Day?
November 3rd. November
3rd, that's my daughter's birthday. She'll be 19, and she can vote. And I'm going to take her like my parents took me to the polls to make sure she votes. How many of you take your children to vote?
I did.
Grandchildren.
How many of you take your grandchildren? All right, well, I expect to see some shifts in this room for those who didn't raise their hands, because this...
They might not have kids yet.
Oh, okay, you might not have...
Oh.
Okay. But you're going to go to vote, right? All right, okay. I have to do this to see, okay. There you go. All right, you know what? That's not funny. Anyway, November 3rd. November 3rd is Election Day, but November 4th. What happens November 4th when we see a sea of blue in Congress? What happens now? Are you guys going to start investigations and holding people accountable? Because Republicans, because, I mean, for this man to be making $2.2 million.
Billion with a B.
Billion with a B, that's right, $1 billion. And I'm sitting up there going to Costco to make sure I can afford gas. Yeah. And my husband, who takes insurance for my family, it's like it's gone up. And I'm trying to determine, I got to eat right so I don't get sick. What are you guys going to do come November 4th in these committees with these Republicans if we turn blue?
First thing we're going to do is we're going to pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Act. Because everything flows from our protection, our ability to get to the ballots. Yeah. So we are going to pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Act, which will put it out of reach of any rogue Supreme Court. Because we will codify it in law, and it will be constitutional, and forevermore, your protections as African Americans, as minorities, will always be in place, that you will never be blocked from the ballot box. Then, we're going to get justice. We're not going to get along, we're just happy to be at the party cats. We're coming in. We're going to have supercharged oversight. And all those things that have been illegal, immoral, improper, they're going to be brought to justice. We're going to restore the battered guardrails of checks and balances. The battered guardrails of checks and balances. The framers of the Constitution contemplated a lot. Apparently, they didn't contemplate Donald J. Trump. But when we get the gavels back, we will, and we will hold them accountable.
Somebody said that's all we want. And right now, the committee, the Government Oversight and Reform Committee, is not holding hearings. No. Republicans are in charge, guys.
We have forced them to hold hearings when they didn't want to. You want to know what we're doing? They control. How do you think Epstein files even had hearings? Because members of the Congressional Black Caucus, members of the Democratic Caucus, forced hearings with discharge petitions on the floor of the House when the Speaker would not bring it to a vote, we got 5 Republicans to join us. We got 5 Republicans to join us. And then it went to 7, and then it went to 12. That's how we're able to have this. They wouldn't have even had hearings if we hadn't put the pressure on them. And we did that, y'all, undervoted. We didn't have the votes, but we didn't quit and say, woe is me. We don't have the votes. We'll just wait 2 years. We don't have time to wait 2 years. We got to use every single day, every minute, every hour, every ounce of our energy to fight, whether we have the votes or not.
And yes, you.
Thank you so much
And
again.
especially as Cleo Fields.
Yes.
Is not gonna be in Congress.
I love Congressman Fields. I love my congressman here. Let's give him another hand of applause. He is awesome, and he really shows up for us each and every day. But I have 4 words that I want to leave with you guys. The first word is opportunity. The congressman spoke to that. We never give up when we have an opportunity. We are the most ingenious people on the earth. I believe that we have more ingenuity than anybody else. And when a door closes, we find out a way of opening a window. Systems. We are going to continue to beat down, eradicate, knock down every system that try to keep us down. Next word I have is elections. We are going to continue to what? Go out and vote. Every vote matters. And I know everybody in this room vote, but I am asking you guys, please make sure that you bring at least 7 to 10 people with you when you go out to vote. And then lastly, education. That is the one thing that they are trying to keep away from us, because they recognize that when we became educated and informed, nobody was able to close the door, close the window to keep us out. We have to be the ones to save ourselves. We cannot wait on anybody to come save us. And this is not for us, but for our children, our grandchildren, for 7 generations to come.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, before you go, you are also the head of the, what's the name of the organization?
African American Mayors Association.
And with that, in your final comments responding to that question I just asked, can you also say the top 3 issues that the mayors, the African American mayors in this nation are dealing with?
Well, I think the 1, 2, and 3 issue is the degradation of democracy and all the systems that the federal government supports for cities across this country by this administration, whether it's housing policies, whether it's public safety policy, whether it's voting rights, whether it's representation, whether it's women's rights, all of the things that they are tearing down. Local governments are left holding the ball, right? Because people are still going to come to us. When they were firing people, they came to me, can you help us with food? Can you help us with water? Can you help us with our electricity bill? We didn't create that mess, but we have to deal in it each and every day. So everything that happens at the federal government, we all know what they say about stuff rolling downhill. Local government is at the bottom of that hill. But we take that with pride. We take honor in being the folks that fight for our people every day to make a way out of nothing, as Senate Pro Tem said. But for us, and what I'll say lastly, in the moment that we're in right now, and I said this yesterday with the congressman, for black people in particular, our skin may be dark, but we are the light. Nothing is impossible for us, because everything that is good about this world comes from us. But when you think about this moment that we're in, people often say, we talked about this a lot this weekend, what would I be doing if I were around during the civil rights movement? Look in the mirror and look at what you're doing now. What would I be doing during the Underground Railroad? Look in the mirror and see what you're doing now. Don't be the person that Harriet would have left back on that farm. Be the person that wants to fight for your people. Be uncomfortable. This is an uncomfortable time for all of us. Challenge people. Push us to be better. But also make sure that you see the full picture. These folks do not try to tear down people that they do not fear. So if you have a black congressman, if you have a black mayor, if you have a black city council person, and you see that person being torn down by the masses all the time, that's because they're afraid of that person. Now, to the contrary, if you have a black person in office that they just seem to love, you might want to question that. You might want to push a little further, because these people don't operate that way. We have to push each other to be better, to be uncomfortable, to fight. We will come out on the other side of this because slavery could not stop us. Jim Crow could not stop us. The war against drugs and policing while black could not stop us. We will make sure that we're victorious. But when we do, we have to do it together. We have to do it stronger. We have to be more united. And this is the real uncomfortable part, April. We have to let the people who decide to be with them stay with them forever. I'm done.
And I want to add to something you said, something that you just said. You said when you see people going after somebody, when you see people going after a reporter, they went after me, yes, to the tune of having to have bodyguards and had a bomb at my house, Congressman. You did too. FBI had to come to my home, had bomb squad come to my home. When you see a reporter just asking simple questions and tearing down, I must be a bad mamma jamma from Baltimore.
Yes, you are.
And you are.
Yes,
and
you are.
And you are.
And with that said,
And a bag of chips.
well,
Utz, sour cream, and onion chips to be.
oh my God.
With a pickle and a mild in the middle.
Wait a minute, with the hot sauce.
Listen,
with the hot sauce. With the hot sauce.
Let's put our steamed crabs and our crab cake from Coco's to anything he has.
Got that. We'll take it. And guess what? It's all going to be good.
It's definitely going to be good, all of them.
Look, we should have him on my back porch. Yeah, come to my back. I had the mayor on the back porch. We had New Edition on my back porch, and the mayor was at my house.
I'll bring a sack of live crawfish. I will boil them in your backyard.
Oh!
Wait a minute.
That is on.
Wait a minute.
Boom.
And I'm going to add the shrimp and the corn and potatoes. How about that?
Boom.
So you're going to have to fly there. Come on.
All
Don't worry
right.
about it. I fly it up twice a year to D.C. and boil crawfish for members of Congress.
All right, y'all heard this.
Yeah.
And we had the crabs. All right.
It's live. It's live.
You want to play? We in New Orleans. You got to call the congressman. With that said, everyone, what's your question, sir? Because we've been over for about 20 minutes. Hurry up. This is the Black Economic Forum, yes. You served on the pension fund. Okay, affordable housing, they shut that down. Donald Trump shut that down for the SAVE Act. Wait a minute, hold on.
No, I know what he's saying, April. He's talking about making sure that we reinvest into ourselves.
Okay.
And that's what we have to do. And what I will tell you to do, my dear brother, if you Google Reframe Baltimore, you'll see us doing just that. We're taking tax increments financing that they only use for big white developments for the eternity, and we're taking that to East and West Baltimore to take houses that were in the original red line neighborhoods and turn them into home ownership for our people to allow them to grow generational wealth. And we're going to continue to do that in our great city.
And redlining started in Baltimore. Did you know that? Yes, ma'am. No. Sir, okay. With that said, thank you so much. Enjoy your last day of the Essence Festival. It has been wonderful. Go see George Clinton, but I'm going to tell you something. On November 3rd, you all better go vote. Thank you so much. Be well.